we're going to talk about how you can use MEE sample answers and the NCBE point sheets to help you prepare for the MEE. So first things first, let's talk about what the point sheets are and what the sample answers are, and then we can discuss how you can use them in your preparation for the MEE. So turning to the point sheets first. The point sheets are created by the National Conference of Bar Examiners, and these are helpful because they tell you what's tested in each MEE question. So in other words, they tell you the issues that are raised by the fact pattern, and they also tell you what percentage each of those issues are worth. So for instance, if assault was worth 40% of your total score in response to that question, the point sheet will tell you that. Additionally, the point sheet is great for illustrating the applicable rule, analysis, and conclusions for each of those issues tested. So now that you know what the NCBE point sheet is, we can talk about how it can be helpful to you in preparation for the MEE. So these point sheets are absolutely invaluable because they're essentially a key. In other words, they tell you everything that you're supposed to hit upon in response to the question. So you can use it like a checklist up against the answer that you've crafted in response to the question. The other reason the NCBE point sheets are absolutely invaluable is because, again, they tell you how important or how each issue is weighted. So if there was an issue that was only worth 5% of your total score and you missed it, you can interpret that accordingly. Additionally, it outlines the applicable rule, the analysis, and the conclusion for each issue. So again, if you're using it like a checklist up against the response that you drafted, you can check to see if you're on track. Now, a few things to keep in mind about these point sheets. These point sheets are much longer than the graders are expecting your response to be. Again, this is a timed exam. They understand that. So your answer does not need to be as long as these point sheets are. Additionally, you do not have to have the rules cited verbatim to be correct or to be awarded full points. You also don't have to cite statutes or case law the way the point sheets will. So again, keep that in mind when you're using these point sheets to help grade your practice answers. So let's talk about the MEE sample answers. Sometimes these are referred to as high-scoring student responses. And that's exactly what these are. Some jurisdictions will publish or make available on their websites, for instance, students or examinees who wrote good answers in response to these questions. So these are very, very helpful because it's a good illustration of what a regular examinee drafted in response to the question under timed constraints. So it's helpful to use these in conjunction with those NCBE point sheets because, again, that NCBE point sheet has more information than you'd be expected to provide, and that sample answer is a good illustration of what someone did respond with in the time constraints under, again, testing pressures. The one thing to keep in mind, however, about the sample answers is that they are not perfect. So while they may be high scoring, that's great, but they may miss certain issues. So that's why it's important that you don't rely just solely on those sample answers, but you're using them in conjunction with those point sheets. Additionally, those sample answers might be nice to see how another examinee organized their response. So again, just keep in mind, it's not perfect, but you can use it as good guidance. So that's why it's important to use both the NCBE point sheet and these sample answers together. If you can strike a balance between the two, chances are you're in great shape for the MEE.